welcome to Beyond the Knife. Today we have Alex Shin. He's very humble, so I'm going to give kind of his creds. He is a world-class hand and microvascular surgeon, and I gotta say that in a lot of areas in medicine, you know, people contribute with research here and there and things like that, but you have contributed in a lot of different huge practice-changing, dogmatic-changing things in hand surgery. So that is just incredible. I know you don't talk about it very much in terms of saying that you did these things, but I think as a bystander in hand surgery, I think that you've done an amazing job there. And people don't. I think people see the professor of like 4 different disciplines, and a decorated Navy officer too. I mean, people see that, but they don't see, I think, the side that I see, which is just an incredible human being and a great friend and a great husband and father. And so I think this is an awesome opportunity to do a Beyond the Knife with someone like you.
Well, thank you so much, Peter. It's great to be here.
The the interesting thing is that if what do you think the most common thing is that if someone sees you like out like in a hand surgery world event, the thing that you're most noted for, what do you think that would be?
It's hard to say. I think the funny thing is when I go to these meetings and I talk and I'm introduced, a lot of times people go, I thought Dr. Shin was a lot older. And it probably stems from the fact that I've been so blessed with early career successes, but you have to remember all those successes come because of the people that have mentored you and the people that are around you. We really can't be an island, and all the successes that we had or I had are because of collaborations with other colleagues, other subspecialties, residents and fellows. And it's unbelievable that what happens in the middle of the night when you're on call and you talk something through with a fellow, and next thing you know, that leads to a research project that leads to a challenging of dogma.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely true. And like you're saying, that you had a lot of good collaborations and a lot of mentors that helped you along your way. And I think in your teaching career, because you were program director of the Mayo Clinic Hand Surgery Fellowship for how many years?
I think about 8 to 10 years.
8 to 10 years, and then while you're in the Navy, you were heavily involved in resident education for
5 years.
5 years. So I think in that time period, I've known you for more than half of that period, and I think what has struck me is that you live by that. Someone helped you as you were climbing the ladder and reached down and helped you, and I've noticed you do that for so many people, helping them elevate their career, and I think that's a mark of a great teacher. Now, do you think in your professional career, what gives you the most satisfaction nowadays?
Well, going back on that, Peter, before I answer that, being a Navy guy, you have to say a rising tide raises all ships. And when you elevate everyone because you're elevating a field, everyone benefits. And then somebody long time ago said, you do not want to be the person that climbs the ladder and then pulls the ladder with you. And that really stuck with me, because I remember having some mentors or colleagues that would do that, and it would just leave you feeling absolutely horrible, and you don't want to feel horrible in this world. Yeah. I mean, our whole goal is to help people and help our colleagues be better surgeons.
Yeah.
And so going back to your question, is what gives me the greatest joy? I'm a father of 4 kids, and there's no joy greater than watching your kids become better than you. And for me, it's introducing surgery or orthopedic surgery, getting people excited about things, getting them involved in research, and watching them become better than you are. And never jealous, amazed, and just so blessed that you're able to touch someone's life like that.
Yeah, I think that's an incredible legacy to have. Not only do you help patients in this profession, but also just the different lives that you touch in trainees and things like that. That legacy is in itself is just it really fulfills you for sure. So then, if you were to ask your kids now, so a lot of times I think our families don't know what you do in medicine, and they just know dad for dad. If we asked each of them, what are you most proud of your dad for? What would you think they would say? And maybe they're different per kid.
It's kind of hard to say. That's one of those questions that you really don't want to ask, because sometimes you don't want to know. I think one of them would say that they're really proud that I raised them so that they had the opportunities that they had. Another one would probably say, I first didn't really understand why you were never at home and you were always at the hospital, but you doing that provided us a environment that we could do a lot of things that we never would have ever had the opportunity to do. Some of my other kids would say, Dad, I'm really proud of you for looking down at your phone and walking into that pole at Disneyland where you hit that thing that really made everybody laugh. So it's a combination. Your kids really will never quite understand what you do until they become young adults. And I just want my kids to know that I was there for them and that we love them to death, and that they always have somebody to talk to.
Yeah, when early on when I was starting my family, I remember, you were actually, because you used to talk about your kids all the time, and you were like a great, whether you knew it or not, a great mentor to me on how to be a good dad. And I know that you are super busy, travel quite a bit to teach and things like that, but you still are still investing in your family as much as you can. And that, I think, is kind of the biggest thing about this Beyond the Knife is how do you integrate your work with your life? How have you managed to do that? Because you're arguably one of the busiest people I know, and you edit a journal. You're an editor for a journal. You've written countless textbooks, like hundreds of articles, and you have a NIH grant. Like, how do you manage all that but still are there for your kids and that? Like, any pearls you would tell me if I was asking you that when I was early in my career?
Well, that's really interesting, Peter, because we were just talking about balance, and I will submit to anyone that anyone truly balanced can never be truly great. And if you look at all the professional athletes, show me one truly balanced professional athlete, and I'll show you the same in any given field of life. To get something, you have to give something. And if you want to be the best at football, the best at tennis, the best at chess, the best at surgery, you have to give up something. And I really will say it's a paradox, because everyone wants balance. I consider myself not so balanced, but I try to do the best with what I have. And that's the best I could say, because I think if I was truly balanced, I wouldn't be where I am.
Okay.
And it's a really hard paradox to explain.
That's true. I mean, there's only so much time in the day, and if you have to do, to reach a certain level in medicine, in surgery, you have to, and there's sweat equity there, and you have to put that time in, and that has to come from the same pot of minutes.
Exactly.
Well, then, how about in terms of when you do have that time to be at home? Because I know your profession is super stressful. What are your outside passions that kind of reset you and refill your bucket?
Yeah, so the thing is, I think it's really important that you recharge yourself, but you also have to recharge your family.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with the recharge of family. The only reason that I'm able to recharge my family is because I have an unbelievable, dedicated wife. And without her, I think that I wouldn't be where I am now with the family.
Mm-hmm.
But to recharge myself, I like to do a lot of things outside, hunting, fishing. I'm a handyman. I love working on the house, painting,
Mm-hmm.
doing the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And despite being a hand surgeon, I do own 2 chainsaws, a wood splitter, a couple other power equipment, a table saw, and I just love working with my hands.
Yeah, I remember you completely redid your deck yourself, and you have a huge wraparound deck too. So that's not a little deck that you did. And then you have chickens too.
Yeah, those are my wife's chickens, but I've kind of earned them by proxy. And so, yeah, we have chickens. And, you know, it's everything outside of orthopedics that for just little periods of time just completely can recharge you.
Yeah. If you had a free afternoon where, you know, your family's gone, you know, they're all recharged, and you could do whatever you want, what would that, on a fall afternoon like today, what would you be doing? What would you want to do?
Well, Peter, I personally would want to get out on the water to do a little fishing with a great friend of mine.
Perfect segue. Well, where we're going today is to Pool 4 of the Mississippi, and we're going to put it in Red Wing. The air temperature right now is 43 degrees. I think that the water temperature is probably going to be in the mid to low 50s. We'll have to see. We've been out fishing twice now. We didn't catch much the first time. Actually, we caught nothing the first time. We went to a little reservoir next to our town, and then we went out on the Mississippi once before for a short trip in the middle of the summer, and it was admittedly really challenging, but you caught a really nice bass that day.
Very nice bass.
And so today we're going to try to capitalize on this this turnover period. I guess we're in the river, so there's not much of a turnover, but the walleye fishery here in Pool 4 of the Mississippi is just phenomenal. So healthy of walleye and sauger, and hopefully the walleye have started and made their migration up north to the dam, and so we're gonna fish near the dam, and we can talk about exactly what we're gonna do when we get out on the water. But no, I think that what you mentioned about recharging your family separate from you, I think is really important, because I know that for a while I would recharge the family at the expense of recharging myself, and I did that for years, and mainly I had to, and maybe you agree, because I felt guilty.
So little time.
There's so little time, and that time that you do have, you're going to spend with your family, and not likely most of the time not go do something on your own. And so I neglected that for so long, and then it got to the point that, as you know, I think as your career gets more and more involved, your family gets bigger, the stresses just become bigger, and at some point I think you have to recharge like that.
Yeah, even if it's only a 15, 20, 30 minute recharge, and sometimes just doing a quick workout, a quick run, a 30, 40 minute, you got to spend at least that little bit of time for yourself every day.
Absolutely. Now, in terms of the hunting, now you like to, because you own a little bit of land, and you definitely like to hunt on that land. And I remember what people may not know is that one day Alex told me that he had a raccoon problem, and then somehow over the ensuing days and weeks, it turned out to Alex, you're trapping them, and then because they were a nuisance, they were killing your chickens, and so trapping them, and then learning about how you could not make waste of all.
Oh, that's such a funny story, Peter. You know, it's kind of interesting what happens in the OR and the stories that you tell, and that the fellows at that time never forget. Yeah, so I was trapping some raccoons, and I told my oldest son that you should never dispatch an animal without wasting it. And so we dispatched a couple of raccoons, and I taught my son how to skin it, and we skinned a couple of raccoons and then tanned their fur. My youngest son ran away vomiting. My oldest son barely took it. They were like 9 and 5 at the time, and I brought pictures of what I was doing and showed Peter, and I think Peter just chuckled and could not forget the story.
No, you know why? It's because I think even as your fellow, there's such a level of hierarchy and respect that I just always thought of you as like this, this world-class surgeon, and and then as we became closer friends, I was like, wow, he actually mows his own grass. He actually cuts his own wood. That's what's fun. Like we were talking before. Celebrities or like politicians and surgeons that are internationally known, we're all humans. You still have to do kind of basic things, and that's what's so fun about finding out about everyone's passions.
Yeah, I think that's really, really great, and I think your Beyond the Knife podcast series is going to be great for residents and fellows to understand that behind every surgeon is a real person.
Exactly, and I think also and I learned the hard way, and I too have an amazing wife who also is a physician. So it's the challenge is tough with our 4 kids too, because I took after you, and it's I think just trying to show that even when you're busy, you have to prioritize when you can family and your own personal well-being. And now I know you're an avid. You like to exercise. You
Yes.
love to exercise, and that keeps you healthy. And probably that's why you look like you're still, like 40. So you now do you lift weights or do you run?
I do a lot of cardio, the Pelotons, elliptical, some running, and then lift weights 3 times a week.
Okay, and now if people that are listening want to challenge you in Peloton, what are your Peloton?
I don't tell anybody because I don't want nobody to follow me. I like a little bit of anonymity.
So if you're ever in a Peloton class and there's someone that's just really riding you and heckling you and really pushing you, that's probably you.
Oh, that's so funny, Peter.
It's probably Asian hand surgeon.
I think the other thing that's really important is you have to understand, you have to give yourself some grace, because along the journey we make lots of mistakes. Mm-hmm. You make mistakes with your family, you make mistakes with you recharging yourself, and it's not always perfect. And sometimes you look at somebody and you say, wow, that's perfect, but it's not. You get to be who you are through lots of trials, lots of errors, and you hope that in the end that you do the right thing for everyone.
Yeah, no, you definitely taught me that, and I try to live by that as well. It's I remember when I was getting ready to start board collection, and you had called me just to check up on me, and I said, well, I'm kind of nervous because it's board collection time. And I remember you said this, and you probably say this to all your fellows and residents. You said, why are you anxious? Because if you've been doing the right surgery and the right indications, then you really don't have to alter anything. And I'll never forget that, because you're right. Everyone is doing ethical good surgery, but for some reason we feel like, oh, it's board collection, we have to really button it up. But if you've kept it buttoned up and true to your patient's well-being the whole time, then you have nothing to worry about. And I remember, at least in orthopedic boards, if you're not the primary surgeon, it doesn't count as your boards. And a lot of people will say, if you're doing something really challenging or somewhat controversial, you can have someone else, like someone senior, be the primary surgeon. And I remember you telling me, don't do that. Just own up to it, live up to it. And I I'll never forget that either, because I definitely took on some hard challenges, and those things actually, some of those got picked in. I remember, you know, the response wasn't like, why did you do this or that? It's like, wow, you took that on?
Yeah.
You know,
It's interesting. Discipline plus consistency leads to success.
You know, your other talent is you have a lot of sayings.
Yes, some aren't really politically correct.
No,
but they make me laugh.
But you're like, I don't know how you remember all these sayings. Like, I remember telling myself I was going to make a book of Shinisms.
Oh gosh, I'd be like embarrassed.
I know. You'd have to have multiple different chapters and like an adult version too. Well, we're just about to the harbor here and the boat ramp that we're going to put into, and then you know, we'll try to see if we can find some of these fish, these walleye traveling upstream. Now, walleye and sauger look very similar, and maybe I'll explain, hopefully, if we catch one or the other or both, the difference between the two. But man, on the Mississippi, they're just good eating, and hopefully we can talk about some technique. And have you ever caught a walleye before?
I've never caught a walleye.
Okay,
and so I'm really excited.
Okay, that is our goal today, to catch you a Mississippi Pool 4 walleye. And I think a lot of other people took the memo, and there's a lot of boat trailers in the boat ramp, and so we'll see how congested it is up north by the dam. But I think it's going to be a good trip.
Well, we're looking forward to it.
Nice.
Blue one, right?
You're going to get the blue one.
I love this one. This one's kind of like,
What's your favorite?
it's kind of like so feminine.
It's perfect for you.
Okay, just up and down.
So this one, just drop it right under the boat. Yeah, so the walleye like to sit on the bottom, and so it's really key to make sure that your lure is on the bottom. And you know, imagine that your strike zone, where you want them to hit your lure or see it, is like maybe 1 to 2 feet off the bottom. So when you raise it up off the ground, you don't want it to go too high. So we're going to try to drop it and then just float down with the current a little bit. Let's just pop it up, hang it up in the air a little bit, drop it back down. Pop it up. Pop it up. And it's not very high, because remember, they're just like a foot off the ground here.
I think need help?
I wasn't quite ready for that.
What does it feel like?
Ooh. It's a decent one. The thing is, that's a nice little keeper.
What does it feel like?
What's that?
It looked like it was just like dead weight.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha. Try tossing your braid bait out that way, Alex. Oh. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Fish or snag?
Yeah, snag.
Ah. I'm gonna have to just snap that one off, huh? I don't waste too much time, Alex, if it's not going to give.
It's coming.
Oh, you may have a river cat.
What?
Does it feel like it's fighting you at all? You may have like a knife.
Oh, baby.
Oh, that's great.
I know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. What's that?
I caught something to start a fire.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that very first episode of Beyond the Knife. Alex is just a super fun person. I really, really enjoy his friendship, and also I'm just always in awe of the people that I work with who do amazing things in the hospital and the clinics. Um, and uh, I get the pleasure to get to know them outside of medicine or behind the knife, and see that these are wonderful people, husband, wives, mothers, fathers, friends. And so that's the purpose of the Beyond the Knife, is for everyone to just get a chance to see how these physicians, these providers, kind of learn how to manage life, family, work, stresses, and how they stay healthy, mind, body, and spirit. And I think that's going to be a very, very fun um, thing that we do as we get different people on the show to do a lot of fun, different things. Fishing is just one of my passions. So for those that like to fish, I'm going to get them out, or if they want to learn how to fish, we'll do that too. We already have a lot of content that we've taken video on with a lot of my colleagues, and that will be coming out here soon. If you are in medicine and you would like to be on one of these Beyond the Knives, either virtually, we can have a fun conversation, or if you want to go out hunting, fishing, cooking, uh, a lot of different activities that we can do, just let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this very first episode. There's more to come. And if you have any suggestions, questions, please let us know. Thank you.